show is not suitable for children, sensitive men, or insecure women. Can you trust somebody that doesn't take care of their kids?
I don't trust no man on earth that does not take care of their children.
What's the biggest red flag in a relationship?
Low effort and not being honest.
Most of the time, you would think that a bad financial mistake would be spending money on clothes or vacation or like spending money on women. My worst financial mistake was buying a home.
Like a king, give me my crown.
Game time. Game time. Appreciate y'all.
Here.
If the Democrats would have done better, we wouldn't be here.
That's a fact, though.
I'll tell you, we're gonna start
That's
off blazing.
Man,
happy Wednesday.
A lot. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
We got a special guest, Angela Rye, coming on in a little bit. Top of the top to everybody out there. Do remember Detroit, Michigan, and New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes.
You Deserve to Be Rich book tour part 2. You can go to youdeservetoberichbook.com to get your tickets to the book tour. The price is just the price of a book. You pay for the ticket and you get a signed copy of the book. So Detroit, love. New Haven, Connecticut. Yes. Can't wait to get out there. Show some love, man. Appreciate you guys so much. And I will say this. 24 hours left before the options class on Thursday at 7 o'clock. We are running a 50% off sale for EY University. You go to eyuniversity.com and enter code Market Mondays at checkout for 50% off. Vitally important in the times that we're in right now, for sure. So 1 day left for that. Everybody, make sure that you get in. The last thing I'll say before we start on my end is I'm on my support platform. Huh? Yeah, for sure. So Westwoods. So WESWOODS _. That's their Instagram handle. Westwoods. It's actually a whole suit that they sent me. Ooh. And it's pretty fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. So yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Go to WESWOODS _. That's their Instagram. And they got some fire. It's true to size. It fits good.
Looks like good quality.
Dope. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the merch that I've gotten, but I appreciate this for sure. Thank you guys.
And it's for no equity. They weren't even in the pitch competition last year. Kudos to you. But man,
that's a fact, man.
Shout out to Westwoods.
Ian, any announcements you would like to make?
Yeah, all my people in Bridgeport, get over to see them in New Haven. Europe, make the little tour. Go get you a book because you deserve to be rich. If you want to get rich from the market, go to eaninvest.com. I'm not having a sale. They are. So if you can't afford Red Panda, go to EYLU. Get the options class. 2 for 1. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. And let's have an amazing show. It's a lot to talk about. Democrats, this all your fault. It's all your fault. I quit messaging. I thought Rashad was pro-Trump in the election. We were saying if the Democrats didn't do better, we would be here. And now you need a second passport in case you go to jail in El Salvador for when you get out of jail, because you may not be able to come to America. What the hell?
Spooky times that we're in. So we're gonna talk about all that stuff, but let's wait till our guest gets here because I'm sure she's got some interesting takes on that. But I want to start out with it's a few things that's happening in the world right now, but the first thing, for sure. So can we show this clip? Let's show this clip of Chinese manufacturers that's been going crazy on TikTok. This is just one of the clips. Let's show this.
Who are the suppliers behind Lululemon? Some of their yoga wears are actually from Xianglong Clothing and Huang Qisheng Clothing. And guess what? Both factories located in Yiwu here. And these two factories also supply clothing for Fila and Under Armour. I guess most of you know the price of Lululemon or other big brands. They sell you a legging pants for $100. And guess what? here in these two factories, you can get them for around $5 to $6. Crazy. And what's even better, the material and the craftsmanship are basically the same because they all come the same production line. See, this is why people come to China and looking for the OEM factory, because they just can get the cheapest and best quality product from there and sell you, I don't know how much. Alright guys, if you want to know more about Lululemon or any other active wear brands, leave your message in the comment section. I'm Luna, your reliable sourcing partner.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't been up to speed, in response to all of the economic turbulence that's been happening globally, Chinese manufacturers have been going to TikTok to reveal the secrets of how they making Hermes quality bags, how they making sneakers, how they like the real, giving you the real. And man, I mean, you know, I always knew this. I think most people know this, right? But it's one thing to know it, and then it's another thing to actually see it. So, you know, they get you all the time with like, yo, this came from Italy, or this came from this country, or this France, or this is American made. That's why, of course, the Chinese people are making the same quality or better quality. Everything.
For sure. Yep.
Everything. Like from sneakers to doors for your home to
our tech.
electronic. Everything is made better in China. Yeah, that's a crazy fact, right? So now you're starting to see the markups and how much stuff really cost and how they just, you know, just going up crazy just because they could put their name on it. So what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
The first thing I thought, my mom sent it to me, and I was like, this is interesting. My mom is sending me this. And then I thought about what you said about the propaganda machine. Now, all of a sudden, I Show Speed is like the most popular streamer there, and other streamers are going. But also, if I show you that your oligarchs have been charging you 3,000 to 7,000% more for the items than what they cost, that may cause a little bit of confusion and a little bit of rage, especially as our economy is not doing well. I think it's incredibly well timed. For those you don't know, I used to do marketing for a living before I got into investing. This is a flawless rollout. I'm seeing a bunch of creators at the same time go in, shoot some 4K, 60 frame per second fire, breaking down why you overpaid for that Hermes bag on Valentine's Day with the girl you're not even with no more, my boy. You could have went to Canal right by Weezy them studio and got the same thing. I think they're attacking on all fronts. The education, levels of diplomacy, networking effects, companies, and if they hit the consumer, and some people say, well, this won't matter. I don't know if you know. You guys posted about it yesterday. Hermes overtook that #1 spot for LVMH. LVMH sales have been down. A bunch of our brands, retail brands, Target has been hurt because of political issues. We cannot say that this will not have an impact, especially if they have a quarter of the nation hooked on TikTok. But what do you think?
You know, for me, honestly, bro, like it's so interesting because we are finally starting to get some transparency in this world, and everything happens for a reason, right? So it's like now we finally starting to get some transparency. We knew for years that Jordans cost, you know, $1 to make. That's what they always say, like they cost $1 and they charging you. But we never actually got to see the insides of the factories. We never got to actually see, you know, the detail. Like they're giving you an actual detailed blueprint. So to me, I think it's extremely interesting. And like I said, I mean, you really got to rethink the way that you think about stuff, because we always are taught that something is better because it costs more money. Right? Or if it comes from a certain part of the world, it's luxury. So if it comes from Italy, that's luxury. If it comes from France, that's luxury, right? We don't equate those terms luxury with other parts of the world. Like if it comes from Africa, we don't equate luxury with it.
Luxury,
right? If even if it comes from China, we don't equate luxury with it. We can equate efficiency with China, but we don't really equate luxury with China. Well, why? Why? What makes the China product different from that product? Right?
Branding. Yeah.
Branding, European branding, really. Right? Like
Yep.
the Europeans convince the whole world that if it doesn't come from a European country, it's not luxury.
It's not luxury.
And
Mhm.
when you're thinking about, how consumers are viewing the landscape, now what we
Yep.
have to see is if this makes any difference, right? Like now that people know that Birkin bags actually cost $1,500 to make, will they still pay $38,000 for them? Probably, because the people that pay
For sure.
$38,000 for a Birkin don't care; they just want the Birkin, right?
Is it worth it though?
The Birkin
Yeah. Would you buy somebody a Birkin?
for $38,000? No, that's not intelligent. I
At
don't
all.
think so. Now, if Jeff
I don't want to
Bezos,
hear in 3 years it'll be worth 72,000. No, the fuck it won't.
it's all relative too. If I'm Jeff Bezos, like then it might be a different conversation. But
Yeah.
right now, to me, $38,000 is something that's not a good financial decision to me right now.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. And that whole appreciation shit, man, it's just like watches. It sounds good in theory until you realize that you got to have somebody to buy it from you.
For sure.
So, okay, good luck trying to sell somebody a used Birkin for 10 years for more than you paid for it 10 years ago. Is it possible? Potentially. But how many people do you know? Like we have firsthand proof of people that have sold a house. We have firsthand proof of people that have sold stocks. We have firsthand proof of people that have sold businesses, crypto. How many people do we know have actually sold Birkin bags secondhand? I'm sure that there's some, but how is there like thousands of people as a registry of people that we can actually go to? Is there a marketplace? How are you going about doing this?
It's tough. Some of y'all trying to get rid of them Rolexes right in Galleria Mall right now. Come down by 15,000 more. I got you.
And the prices went down.
For sure.
That's another thing. Yep. That's the first thing they tell you, like Rolex price never goes down. Well,
cap. After the crypto bros got hit in 22,
that's a fact.
Oh boy, y'all got an Oyster Perpetual dial. 15,000 more off. I got you.
Price definitely went down. That's a fact.
Yeah. Then they got the little land dweller that they ripped off from
AP. The AP. It looked like a fake AP.
Like, what are we doing, yo?
Yo, Rolex, y'all dead wrong for that. I see
y'all wrong for that, yo.
That's yo.
I was like, oh, land dweller, that's kind of fly. I saw it. I said,
it's a knockoff AP
Canal.
Yo,
for real, you get the 2 little Birkin bags, a Gucci suitcase, and a little Rolex in combination, 800. It's trickery, yo. Trickery. Rolex, y'all dead wrong, yo.
Tough times, man. When y'all got to knock off your competitor.
For real.
Yeah.
What's Drew told me about this? Aren't they what kind of business for? They're a charity, right?
I think it's a nonprofit, from what I've heard.
Nonprofit
based in Switzerland, something like that. Yeah.
Deeper, darker criminal link.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'll tell you what though. People are gonna start directly getting stuff directly from China if they have the means. Because I'm building a home and somebody sent me a video. This girl went to China to get all the stuff for the crib directly to the source. Like she went directly to the source, and then she put it on. She chronicled what she did, put it on TikTok, and now she like walk you through like, oh, this is where you get the cabinet, this is where you get the this is where you get the kitchen. Like you can put it in a container. I just learned this today actually. So the container costs $12,000. So what you can do is you can get a couple people together, a consortium of sorts, get a container. ship the container
What?
from China to America, unload it, and voila.
And bust it down for a third of a Birkin bag? What?
That's a fact.
Hey, marble
China-
floor me down. When we going to
China
Beijing,
pretty much said like, "Yo, we open for business. If y'all want to play games, come directly to the source. Whatever you,
we'll
if you
make
try,
it
if you got a
hard.
brand or if you're just an individual person, come.
Yeah.
We'll get you right on WhatsApp. Communicate. We'll ship it off to you."
And the media part is always an important part of building up or tearing down a country. If you look at even the American Dream House white picket fence, that was all great propaganda for the long. They forgot the red lining out of those commercials, but it's really interesting to see how when TikTok had a stranglehold on us and they then tried to have the suspension, how they kicked things into high gear ever since then. And the crazy part is if they open up that tourism board to us, it is going to be a lot of excursions there.
That's a fact. That's like people that say like, buy American, buy American. I'm not just going to buy American just because it's American. If something is 5 times the price in America, I'm going to get it from China. I'm not just going to buy American just to get exploited. Because for what? I'm still
to be a patriot and not to build up the GDP, Rashad.
No, right? I'm gonna be a patriot by paying my taxes that I should not have to pay at this level. I shouldn't have to pay property taxes at this level. I shouldn't have to do a variety of different things. So consumer goods is not patriotic to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Consumer goods is not a sign of patriotism.
Oh my God.
We still fighting to get Harriet Tubman in the school system. They about to exile.
Never gonna have it. We get Halle Berry in there before we get Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, you talk about like, yo, you gotta buy America. No, I don't.
And when the MAGA merch is made in China, which is crazy.
That's a fact.
They were showing that on TikTok. I'm like, damn, the flag made in China? This is crazy.
That's a fact.
Tough.
Yeah. So
China's playing high level treason and espionage, and
I mean they're playing a very strategic game. Like you said, they got ISO speed, they got the influences, they doing that side of it. They doing the TikTok warfare as far as, yo, come to China, we open for business. This is how much it really costs. We're gonna peel back the curtains on everything. They playing that side of it. They're playing the war side as far as like the political propaganda. Like, we're ready for anything. You know, they go into all of the countries that's pissed off and offering them better trade deals, selling U.S. bonds. I mean,
if they show the black community how to get drip and get cars, it's over with, bro. I know y'all gonna laugh and think this funny, but a good way to get us is through consumerism.
That's a
fact. For sure. And there are so many of them here that have learned our culture and have maybe taken some of that IP back home. It's not that hard of a fight. Listen, if we can't keep the coyotes from smuggling people into the States, it's gonna be a hard war for us to beat China, yo. And that's right in our backyard.
That's a fact. Even the hair bundles. They got the hair bundles. The bundle pack.
So in time.
That's a fact.
Crazy.
That's a fact. Tariffs on the bundles. Crazy.
For real.
For real. Okay. Speaking of China, what about them halting Boeing shipment? They halted some shipments to Boeing.
I ain't gonna lie, Boeing should have been halted after that damn space shuttle got stuck in space for 2 years. I don't know what's going on with Boeing. Once again, I don't think it's a good investment long term. Kudos to Boeing. I'm not talking about the government and military side. Kudos to you, because that is above my pay grade. I'm speaking about the planes and the shuttles going out of space. But if they get to attacking weaker industries, and I don't think it's an accident that they attack the car industry and this industry first, because it's an easier one to attack. The margins are super low in these businesses. So, and they tried to plant that seed with TikTok, and then they kind of eased up off of that a little bit. They're not done, but if I can attack smaller industries first, like your car industry, and produce better cars at a better price, slowly you'll get market share in a bunch of different industries. So Boeing has a bunch of issues they need to fix. I think this is just another one that they have to worry about. And if it wasn't for the government backing and the military part, Boeing would have been without a business. You can't have your product falling out the sky, literally, and then the shit getting stuck in space, and Elon got to come put some hooks on it and anchor you back home. If we did that, y'all talking about y'all had too many rap performances and sound. Boy, if we had a plane fall out the sky in Atlanta, we would be under the jail. We'd be in that outer wall.
That's a fact. So for Boeing stock, it's not a good stock buy.
I would never touch it. I've been saying this since the beginning of Market Mondays. I wouldn't touch it. Shout out to everyone who works there. Thank you for your patriotism. Thank you for loving America. I've made enough enemies. I don't need to make another one. But no, I would not buy the stock. No.
Let's talk about this conversation. We talked about this once, I think, but you know, I was talking to somebody that was educating me on how this process works. How do you feel about arranged marriages?
Oh my God! Wait, what? Who would be arranged? Someone would be bringing somebody to you.
So this is what he told me, because he's a person that I'm in constant communication with right now, right? So he said that he had his marriage was an arranged marriage. He's been married to his wife for 35 years. He said his parents was an arranged marriage. They was married for 50 years. His son recently got an arranged marriage, and I think both of his daughters have arranged marriages. So this is the first person that I've actually ever spoken to personally that explained it to me in detail. The way he said it was like, look, which I already knew this. It's been proven that statistically arranged marriages last
longer. Yeah.
They last longer than traditional, like there's a regular marriages, right? So he said, like, how you do the arranged marriage thing is that it's really a families coming together, right? So it's like, okay, your family, it's my family, right? You have a daughter, I have a son. I'm speaking to you as the head of the households. The wives speak, everybody kind of comes together. I've already vetted. You vetted my situation. Like, you know, this is a good kid. He comes from a good family.
The upbringing,
you know, the same thing, vice versa, right? We vetted the situation. And then this is the key part, though. He said the line of communication is between the parents so it's like, okay, he was like, so if my daughter-in-law, he's like, we don't call daughter-in-law, like they call me an uncle. So if she has a problem in her marriage, she calls me and she says, uncle, She's like, and if my son is not acting right, then I'm gonna tear him up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be on him. And he's like, vice versa. He was like, if she's not doing something right in the marriage, whatever, then he'll call her parents, and then they'll have conversations with her, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, the parents play a major part in this because, and the way he explained it,
that's kind of fire.
It made a lot of sense. I'm not gonna lie to you. It actually made a lot of sense because I think we talked about this before. The vetting process of when you're getting with somebody is pretty low, right? Like, you don't really know.
Oh, absolutely.
We haven't done deep dives into their fan. Like, you get to know a person over the course of time, but that's not even really real because that's what they're telling you.
For sure.
It's different when it's like, I know your family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know your family. You know my family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, our families know each other. There's lines of communications that can be done if there's problems. Like, that's a different situation. So I had never really heard it break down like that before. But to me, I'm just like, damn, maybe we need to rethink the way that we thinking about this stuff. And that to me made a lot. It was like a light bulb moment for me.
For sure. I mean, in America, a lot of our cultural norms have been broken down. I can remember even when we were in high school, like, there was a process of like, okay, if you go to prom or homecoming, the families at least met. They made sure they weren't crazy. Like, or if there was some drama or tea, the great aunts would tell you, the grandmas would tell you. I think we've gone so far away because I've been like looking into other cultures, especially like if you're looking like Japanese culture, we do everything backwards from the rest of the world. We are so focused on individualism. which comes from some European countries, their traditions have bled into American culture so much, given that, they were granted this land, given but I think we've gone too far away from having friendship and family at the center to help vet and make decisions. I was even talking to one of my friends the other day, like, I still use my parents as a vetting ground just in my friendships, business relationships, and some people, like, I find that odd. I'm like, but who has my interest better than them? And they lived a life before I lived it, and they have insight and wisdom, or may be able to have blind spots that I may not see. So I think it's actually a great idea. I didn't know that those marriages last longer, but when you break down that process like that, I think it's actually brilliant. And it's part of the reason I think why the breakup rate and divorce rate may be so high, because there's no family bonds.
That's what he said. He was like, yo, in America, you got people raised by their mothers or the father's not there. He was like, that's the broken family. He's like, like our culture, like the family stay together. We talk, we communicate. He was like, so it might sound barbaric, but he was like, that's actually a better way to go about it than just winging it. But without further ado, our guest is here. So we'll bring her up.
Hi, guys. Legend herself. Hey.
How you doing?
Oh, I am so happy to be here with you all. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you. Long time fan. Glad you're here.
Angela Rye needs no introduction. Political strategist, activist, intellectual, author. How would you describe yourself? Like, what's the best title for yourself?
I got too many jobs. I think my favorite title is the meaning of my name. My name means bringer of truth. And I was named after Dr. Angela Davis. And so that is my highest honor. So we can roll with that. I'll just be a truth bringer.
Okay. Truth bringer. So we're going to talk about everything that you got going on. I know you got the tour and so much stuff going on. But first, let's talk about some things. I know that you're very active in the political space, right? So it's a lot that's been happening. So the first thing I want to talk about is what is going on with this El Salvador thing. Like, this is pretty disturbing. I always had a strong suspicion that it's one of these things when you just kick people out the country without any due process. How do you know these people are gang members? So I just saw the New York Times did an expose where now they're starting to say that maybe a lot of these people are not gang members, right? And then there was a whole thing of like how they have a point system, and you get 8 points and you get kicked out, you get sent to El Salvador, but 4 points is for the way you dress. 4 points is for a tattoo. So it's like you get the wrong tattoo, you have your genes a certain way, and you can get sent to the worst prison in the world in El Salvador. Of course, we know the guy that was from Maryland that got sent, and now they're not even going to send him back, defying a Supreme Court order. So what is going on with this situation?
Well, I want us to be grounded in the fact that we know that we're in a constitutional crisis. There are a lot of folks that would say, well, what does that mean? A constitutional crisis is happening anytime one of the co-equal branches of government, there's legislative, there's judicial, and there's executive. So any of those branches defies the other one, right? So the Trump administration has been regularly defying the judicial branch. They've tweeted about it. We talk about it on our show that's called Native Land Pod. We have gone in about how we know we are at multiple levels of a constitutional crisis. This is the first court order, right? Supreme Court is the latest court order that they are choosing to openly defy. It's like my mom, when she's she's not listening to us, she'll say, okay, and then do what she wants to do. That is by definition a constitutional crisis, when you say, okay, and then do whatever it is that you want to do. So I think that we have to understand that. Now, there are a lot of folks who may say, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, it has everything to do with you, because there's something called Miranda rights, right? That's a constitutional protection. There's something called equal protection that our folks fought for. That is a constitutional protection. There's free speech. There's the right to protest, all of these things, the right to assemble, all of these things that are constitutional protections. If they're saying we are defying the Constitution, everything that makes you free, even if we know there are varying degrees of freedom in this country, those are all up for grabs. And so I just finished a live podcast earlier before this interview where I was talking about what it means to tap into our humanity in this moment, because we are so driven by borders now, that we will forget someone's humanity. We'll turn a blind eye to their suffering if they're across a border, wherever that border might be. It might be Mexico, Central America. It could be across the ocean in the continent, right? It could be in the Ukraine, wherever it is where you said, you know what, I got too much of my stuff to deal with. I can't even pay attention to yours. That is also a crisis. That's a humanitarian crisis. So anytime where our convictions no longer allow us to see and want to aid the suffering of somebody else, we have a problem. And I think that is where we are. If it doesn't rise to, a viral moment on social media, people don't care. And we got to deal with ourselves on that, because that's really not right.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. He's hit a nerve in our country that I feel like the Democratic Party wasn't able to hit in time. What do you feel the Democratic Party could have done to thwart him winning? And who do you think like the next Democratic superstar will be? Because we can blame him, but we have to give some blame to the party for not executing as well as it could.
They're propping Gavin Newsom up to be a Democratic superstar.
Easy slaughter.
What I will tell you, Troy, Rashad, maybe less so. Troy, you clearly
Ian.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ian.
No, okay.
What I will tell you is just like now I'm in trouble. I was gonna say you clearly don't listen to our show. You can be like, you ain't listening to Blackout either. I'm sorry. But I will tell you what I'll tell you is we have almost written a book at this point about this. There's so many things that went wrong, right?
Yeah.
From the lack of engagement in community to the conversations y'all know better than me around economics that y'all have all the time. If people are saying, I'm hurting, I need help, y'all help. You guys go into cities and tell people how they can do better for themselves. The party's telling people the economy's great. And people are like, where? Not mine, not my personal economics. And the people are like, no, but it's great. I promise you it's great. That's not the right message for people who are like, I cannot feel what is different. And so I think the biggest mistake was not listening to people on the ground, telling people where they actually were. I think, oh my God, there's so many areas, literally like going into community, listening to folks, talking about issues people actually care about, having a narrative around immigration policy that makes sense to folks who have been conditioned to believe and have seen in some instances people taking their jobs or their kids not being able to learn properly in school or programs being cut that they really care about. So I think that there were a lot of big misses. I really don't care who the next Democratic superstar is. Right now, I just care about meeting the needs of our people. For Gavin Newsom, I'm going to wager that if he keeps going down the road that he's on, he was a big Kamala Harris hater. I think that he's going to end up running as a moderate Republican. Like, why is he platforming these guys who are very toxic and dangerous?
Made a switch for sure.
And I think that he's trying to neutralize himself so he can go in that way. I feel like he's giving like Arnold Schwarzenegger vibes, in terms of how he's trying to moderate right now, which is really, really fascinating. I'm always wary of those people because it doesn't seem like they're principled. It seems like they'll do anything to get a win. Y'all know some of those folks in business too, right?
For sure.
Like you will do whatever it takes to get across the finish line to make a check. And
let me ask you this, because I feel like I'm not totally tapped into what Gavin Newsom is doing, but I heard somebody saying that from what they said, they painted it a different way. They said like he's actually smart for embracing conservative voices to build the bridge between liberal and conservatives. And he's building a coalition of broad range support going into the next
great
election.
PR team. That's political bricks. Let's go. What? You lining up with all the light MAGA people and saying you're building the bridge where?
Well, and I guess that's my question. I guess my question to you all would be, if somebody has demonstrated a propensity to causing harm to your people, do you want someone who's going to be building bridges with them? I think it's one thing to have conversations about Hey, where are we missing each other? Right? What is penetrating your psyche that I'm not getting? What am I not grasping? That's different. But to platform people and then to find points of agreement that are violent or cause harm to others, I think is very different. For example, there have also been elected officials really on both sides of the aisle who are engaging in this DEI narrative that is also very dangerous. This didn't earn it. Every time they see a Black face, the idea is that this person doesn't have a right to be there, that they're not smart enough, dope enough, and incredible enough to exist or occupy a space. That is insanity to me. That is violent to my it's anti-Black rhetoric. That's where they started with CRT, which is critical race theory. That's where they started about the anti-woke agenda. All that stuff is anti-Black. And I think it's upon all of us, Ian and Rashad, to make sure that we're challenging that on every side. Don't let anybody come in and tell us what Black folks aren't capable of. We built this entire country. That's what you're not going to do. We didn't get credit for it. We didn't get paid for it, but those days are over, right? So I think it's really, really important that we say, if you're building a bridge, tell me what that bridge is made of, because it better not be the bloodshed of our people, and it better not be across the backs of Black folks who've already sacrificed enough in this country.
Well, let me ask you this. Back to this El Salvador thing, because it's a two-part question that I have. Because you're right, he has defined judges, and now he's defined the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. So for me, somebody that's not fully educated on how this whole thing works, what's the recourse for somebody that just says, no, I don't care what you say, right? Is there any recourse of punishment for that? And the second part to that question is, now he's saying that he wants to deport American citizens. How dangerous is that? Because if the Supreme Court, because they say like there's no legal precedent that he has to do that, but he doesn't need a legal precedent. He could just start sending people to El Salvador and just say, what are you going to do about it, right? So what's the recourse for somebody that just goes rogue?
Exactly.
There's no recourse.
Exactly. Like the reason why I'm saying exactly like that is because this is the thing that we were wrestling with and inviting people to wrestle with during the election, right? This isn't about being a diehard Democrat or progressive or anything else. This is about, if you care about our opportunities, as treacherous as this country is, I know I don't want to go backwards. I'm not trying to go back to right before the 1964 Civil Rights Act. I'm not trying to go back to Plessy versus Ferguson. The ruling was separate but equal, but it was really separate and very much unequal. I'm not trying to go back to pre-Emancipation Proclamation days. I'm not trying to go back to pre-Juneteenth, right? And so people are like, oh, no way. We are there. They have literally unraveled most of our civil rights protections in the first 2 months. They have dismantled civil rights offices and divisions all throughout the federal government. They have hamstrung and tied up and cut off grants that are designed for our benefit. And people are like, I like him. He's tough. Now he's tough on your ass. Now what you gonna do? And so here's the thing. I want us to be very clear about what's before us. He ran on Law and Order. He was the same person in 2016 who told a supporter at a North Carolina rally that he would pay his legal fines for punching a Black man in the face. This is the same person, and people propped him up. You can blame hip hop in the 80s and 90s. You can blame lifestyles of the rich and famous, but what you should be blaming are your own eyes and your ability to translate beyond a STEMI check. Your ability to translate beyond PPP, some of which we have homies that are being locked up right now for PPP fraud. So some of the stuff that you thought was like, oh, he got it, we out. No, you're really not. And now he was in the office, as you probably know, Rashad, with the El Salvador president. And he said, it was Nayib Bukele. He said, we have some homegrowns, right? Yeah. And he talked about, you need to build more prisons. Who do y'all think about when he's talking about homegrown?
Well, he doubled. I don't. Did you hear when he doubled down on it?
Yeah. And yes.
He said, like, if you hit somebody in the back of the head, if you push somebody on the train track, these are people that should get sent to El Salvador, paraphrasing. So he's not just throwing this out there. He's actually thought this through his brain and has an idea that he wants to send American citizens to El Salvador.
This is my point. And what I want to emphasize for all of us, I'm sure we all have loved ones incarcerated, right? Mm-hmm. He's talking about homegrowns, he's thinking about those same young men that he took out a full page ad on in 3 New York newspapers, the Central Park Five, now the Exonerated Five. So the homegrowns in Donald Trump's mind could be accused but not found guilty. The homegrowns in Donald Trump's mind could be Trayvon Martin getting shot and killed by George Zimmerman. The homegrowns could be the same person who we watched suffer for 9 minutes and 30 seconds on air. That is George Floyd. The homegrowns are us. When he's talking about homegrowns, he's not talking about the insurrectionists that were at the Capitol on January 6th in 2021. He's not talking about folks that would have upheld the Confederacy in the 1800s. He's talking about people who look like you and me. If they can go get a Pakistani or a Palestinian or a Latino, certainly they can go get a Black person. Yeah. So the homegrowns are us. We are homegrown. We are the ones that when we say something they don't like, they are in our Twitter feeds telling us to go to another country if we hate it here so bad. We are the homegrowns. So that is why we must protect when we see somebody suffering. That should not be a question for us, y'all. And we also have to be smart about our math. Now, y'all do math better than me, right? I hope so. And what we know is that we should not be in the politics or the people building of subtraction or division. We've got to add, we've got to multiply, because there aren't enough of us here. We are globally, right, throughout the diaspora, but there's not enough of us here. So we should be building and finding coalition to stand with people where we see injustice, where we see oppression, where we see systemic abuse. That's where we are right now. So even if we don't understand everything about immigration, what we should know is that we have equal protection under the law. We are taxpayers. Taxpayers should be protected. Human beings should be taken care of, not abused. That should be a line in the sand.
But for the person who may be watching tonight, who's like, okay, that sounds good, but we're in a different regime. Like, what are some practical solutions to push back on DEI and some of these like oppressive measures that he's been doing? Because it feels like he's a mad king with no one there to control him.
You know, I love this question because some of where I believe our biggest strengths are across the diaspora, which is, I kind of just leaned into that from an addition and multiplication standpoint. If some of the African leaders say, you know, our line in the sand is, if you think that Black people aren't talented and if we aren't good enough to make decisions and develop strategies, we can't do business with America. Right? We are not going to be in business with somebody who sees our brother and sister, our sibling, as inadequate, as inept, as unqualified. We're not going to, then that means you're unqualified to do business here. Now, I've been asking this, y'all have been throwing this around a lot. I've been like, man, that's going to be tough. But I think what we have to understand is this is an administration that only cares about dollars and cents, even at the expense of humanity. So we got to meet them where it hurts. They don't like bad headlines, but they'll tolerate those. What they really can't handle is losing in business and economically. So they're saying stuff and then walking it back when they really understand the consequences. I think those are some of the things that we have to see from Asian countries, from African countries, from Latin countries. We have to see that. Otherwise, I don't know how the circumstances change. We can continue to force businesses where we spend our money. We have, I think, how much buying power do we have now? 1.5 trillion in buying power. And if you look at that, we should be forcing people to do different. I'm shouting out Reverend Jamal Bryant, who from Ash Wednesday till Easter Sunday, it probably should continue. There's been a Target fast. People have been pushing back on Target. We should do that with multiple brands. That is a part of our civil rights tradition. We've had a lot of Black leaders that led in this space, from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King to Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., right? So we should be looking at ways that we can withhold our resources. If they can't respect us, certainly they can't respect our dollar. And we need to be mobilizing with folks throughout the diaspora about how to restrict this country from doing business if you cannot look out for folks who look like them.
So what is the threat of white supremacy in America right now? You know, there's a whole thing called the manosphere, and there's been a lot of public, even his cabinet is pretty much 99% white men. Like, there's been an uptick in rhetoric and open support for extreme right-wing type of ideology, right? So how far can this thing go, and what is the threat of that right now in the United States of America?
Yeah, I think it is going to go as far as we let it. We cannot sanitize these people. I don't care if they look like us or not. And y'all understand There are people right now on cleanup tours trying to find themselves back in a fold they were never in, by the way, even if they benefited from some of our work. We have to be very mindful of what we tolerate. I think it's one thing to be in conversation with people. I think it's another thing to neutralize or to sanitize what they're saying to make them feel okay about saying something racist or saying something that's anti-Black or saying something that's harmful to our people, dividing Black women and Black men in this country. We shouldn't allow for that. So I think that the biggest thing we can do right now is to call things to the carpet and tell the truth. I think that we have to find ourselves in uncomfortable spaces in our own community, talking, even like we're doing right now. Like you're like, we don't really do politics like that, but we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to have some uncomfortable conversation so we can find common ground. I don't know how we see shifts without conversations and being open to change. What I do know is there's a lot that we've gotten right, but there's so much more that we've gotten wrong, and we can't bridge those gaps unless we're in conversation.
But all right, here's my counterpoint, right? As a little bit more radical person, there's
you know?
You're right. I don't know.
See?
But a lot of people feel like there is no common ground. Like we've been trying to find common ground for 600 years.
For 60 years, yeah.
Like it's not gonna happen. It's like definition of insanity trying to like do the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, certain people are going to think that the way that they think, and that's 100%. So what is the action plan to either separate or operate within that system? Because this common ground thing is not going to happen. Right?
Okay,
like,
so now I'm pushed back on you. I am sorry if it sounds like I was saying common ground with a white supremacist. I am not saying that. I'm talking about finding common ground with us. Us, right? And I'm saying there are some people who are us that are skin folk and not kin folk, so they can stay over there. I ain't
Such as
right?
put a name on that bullet. Put a name on that bullet, Angela.
You said put a name on it. I got a list. Where you want me to start? I can't say I got a name on a bullet because they'll deport my ass. We talking about that right now.
Okay, got you. Okay, well, the ones that look like us. That's not like us.
And a philosophical bullet, not a figurative bullet, not a literal bullet. Anyway, y'all know who you are, Candace Owens. And so I think that the most important thing that we have to understand is that we have to look out for each other, that our operating principle has to be do no harm. Our operating principle has to be loving on one another and creating space and opportunity for one another. Rashad, you mentioned it earlier, but we're doing a State of the People power tour for that reason. We're going into community and we're not saying, hey, y'all need to go vote. Hey, y'all better come do. That's not even it. We're going in to say, what do you need? How can we be of service to you? How can we learn to exchange the different gifts that we have to grow a better, tighter, and stronger community in multiple cities? We're going to do it in 10 cities. We start in Atlanta on April 26th. And it's State of the People power tour because we do have the power. I've been waking up every morning and say, God, I thank you. We have everything we need. And I think that's where we have to begin. If we can tap into the beautiful innovation and talent of Black folks, we're going to be good. And I think that's really where we got to begin right now. We're going to rally folks too, but we're starting with just let's serve together. Let's listen together. Let's teach together. Let's push forward together, and let's keep growing our coalition. Like there's a lot of divides in our community. I want to heal those first before I'm even crossing over to white folks. Like I hope they figure it out. They need to be talking to their uncles, cousins, sisters, aunties, all them that voted for Donald Trump and put us in this hell. That's up to them. Like they better not say nothing to me about no Black women or no Black man and what they didn't do. Y'all handle y'all people. I'm handling mine.
How much time do we have to kind of course correct before everyone should just pack their shit and go to Ghana?
First of all, I am definitely down to go to Ghana. I definitely want to get my dual citizenship. Huh?
It's looking spooky.
It's been spooky. And I think that's the point. Like I'm telling y'all, the reason why I'm focused so much even on the State of the People power tour is because I believe we are all we have. I think that that's always been the case, but we're being forced to reckon with that in ways that we haven't for a really long time. I am concerned about going out of the country and coming back in. They're looking at cell phones, trying to see what you've said. We got signal threats popping. Like, it's a lot going on right now. So I'm worried about that. I think that it is smart for African people to try to build bridges with the continent, period. Regardless if it was spooky or not, it shouldn't take crisis for us to work together, for us to talk, for us to figure out how we move forward. I don't understand that. I wasn't raised in that. So it's always plagued me that that's been a thing for us. But yeah, I think that we should be moving like we're in crisis because we are. But I also think we should move like we have the answers because we do. Even if I don't have the specific answer myself, I know I can call Rashad. I know I can call Ian. I know I can reach out to Leonard. I know I can tap Roland. I know I can ask Joy. We're too resourced. Or the sister from the church, or some other community, or we are too resourced to think that we can't figure it out.
So before you leave, please break down the tour in detail, like for people that you referenced it a few times, but explain it in totality so people have a good understanding of what's actually happening.
Well, first, I want you all to know that it started with the State of the People Marathon. It was a 24-hour sprint programming during Trump's joint address. Rashad agreed to come on to this 3-hour Black Leadership Summit, and he left us. It's so rude. He was on the thing and then left.
That's not what happened. Come
yes,
on.
Yes,
They never called me. They never called me up.
First of all, you were not on there for the full 3 hours, and your camera wasn't on, so I didn't even know you were in there. Okay. So now with 80 Negroes in the thing, how was I supposed to know you were there? And me and Roy Wood Jr. trying to moderate the thing. Anyway, it was born out of that. And even still, Rashad, even though his camera wasn't on and he was trying to play Invisible Man, he still got left for us. So I think you all are going to be involved. And I think the greatest thing about this is 10 cities. We're bringing that same connective coalition-based energy into cities all over the country. We start in Atlanta. We go to Detroit. We go to Birmingham, Montgomery. We go to, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to leave some off. We're going to Louisville. We're ending in LA. And that's to benefit Altadena. And I think what is so dope about you guys, we have so many good workshop ideas. I had a conversation with the Acre Boys yesterday. It was like yelling. My mom is in the hospital room getting chemo, and we yelling. I'm like, that's so good. I know my mom is going to kill me, but I know she's also very happy about what we're building. And so we have all of these really great, incredible folks in our community can help with the expungement of records, paying fines so you don't get arrested. We're not trying to get nobody deported from not paying a fine, right? We got to cover all of our bases, talking about urban farming so we can grow our own food, developing intra-community security plans. It is like all the things. And then we also are doing a rally just to get our people motivated about our path forward together. At the conclusion of those 10 cities, we're going to do a national convening. I'm not going to tell y'all where yet because I got one more thing to shore up. But it'll be on Juneteenth. We start on Juneteenth and end on the 21st. What is also very exciting to me is we have these policy papers that will be dropped every week. They're called the Black Papers. It is our version of a Project 25. It is 2025. It is our version of the Gary, Indiana National Black Political Commission Agenda, 1972. So it's our version of giving back to our folks to let them know we need an agenda. We have to be mobilized in business, in nonprofit spaces, in government, in politics, across the board. We have to be mobilized and working from the same plan. So we're hoping that people will buy into that, submit their own ideas, and we just going to keep going. But you can find out more information on it at stateoftheppl.com. People was taking up because we've been doing these domains a long time. So stateoftheppl.com. You can also find our Instagram at stateoftheppl.com. And hopefully y'all upload your I'm in graphics today and people will see that on your pages as well. So
for sure. Well, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Keep fighting the good fight. It's needed.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. And next time we do this pre-tour kickoff, y'all come on and turn them cameras on, okay?
For 3 hours? Can I bring Candace?
No, it won't be 3 hours. It'll be less. We not letting nobody preach that day. They're gonna have to be quicker. And I'm gonna go to Rashad first. Rashad, since your camera's on, come on and talk.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Y'all. So good. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Ian. I got it right.
Bye, Queen. I appreciate you.
Bye, Rashad.
Take care. All right. Shout out to Angela.
Candace Owen, call Angela and say sorry, whatever you did. All of it.
Candace Owen. But she's not even really accepted by a lot of conservatives. Like she's kind of went rogue. She's in her own space, I think, at this point in time.
Yeah, she like the black Alex Jones.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Tim Scott. I thought she was gonna say Tim Scott.
Another one.
Shout out to Tim.
Another one.
Shout
Ooh,
out to
boy.
Tim. Shout out to Timmy, man.
That was some heavy campaigners and not even be able to go in the office, boy.
Shout out to
Crazy.
Tim, man.
Who on your Mount Rushmore Black leadership all time? Or we can do the Mount Rushmore Coons. Which one? Either or.
Oh man.
Skip it. I'm good. I don't want to feel my political connection. But boy, y'all be doing all that selling out and don't get to sell nothing or buy nothing. And don't even like the sellouts.
My Mount Rushmore of Black leadership. That's a good question. Let me think.
Everyone put in chat who would
Malcolm X. Malcolm X for sure. Malcolm X for sure. Probably the greatest mind that we've ever seen. I'm gonna go with I'm going to go with this is America.
We can do global. We can do the diaspora globally. Or Mars, wherever you want,
Damn, that's tough because there's a lot of let's just say in America.
Okay.
Marcus Garvey. Very important.
What do you count? He's from Jamaica though, originally, right?
Yeah, he's from Jamaica, but he came to America. So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's when he's But
Okay.
I'll go Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. I mean, of course, Martin Luther King. You can't go against the leadership of Martin Luther
King. Like the
King.
VOO of Black leadership, right?
For sure.
Can't go wrong.
And I'll probably go Elijah Muhammad. I don't think he gets enough credit because you gotta realize like a lot of people come from that tree. Malcolm X,
for
sure. Muhammad Ali, Farrakhan, that's all under his tutelage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All the conscious rappers, Tupac, that's really their extended lineage. It's a great list.
Yeah.
Everybody put in chat.
There's so many others though. There's you got the Fred Hamptons, you got the Huey Newtons, you got you have Stokely Carmichael, you have you have like if you go all the way back, you got people like Frederick Douglass.
Sure.
Anybody in today's times?
All jokes aside, Umar. There's some things that he has not done correctly, but I think instilling a sense of pride in the Black community and then have like intellectual leaning for sure. He's continued to carry that torch. Of course, as with any leader, there's a bunch of criticism you can give in a bunch of areas, but I think the core of them is pure. Pause. If a pause is needed.
Yeah, shout out to Umar. I like him. 19 Keys. I think
For sure.
I think he's in that vein. Is people. I mean, of course, like sometimes like
hey, wake it up.
What like people don't appreciate people in the real time, right? And that's just anything, whether it's sports or whatever. They're like, how that's blasphemy. How can you compare this person to that person? But I mean, it's different times that we got social media now. Like that's a microphone that we can use to communicate things all over the world. And I feel like 19 Keys is somebody that has just from his ability to communicate has sparked the brains and has encouraged people. I've seen it. I saw it with my own eyes. Like I saw it in London. I saw people wearing crowns in London. Like, what I'm saying? That's powerful.
In Atlanta,
you got Black people, Black men wearing and women wearing crowns on a different continent. Like, what I'm saying? Like that's influential and that's powerful. So never
they're trying to downplay his impact, but Keys is
exactly don't downplay somebody like, oh, they're an influencer. Nah, they got real influence.
No, I hate when y'all say that because that's like the N-word or rapper. No, we're influential. We are influential worldwide. We can't leave this out of conversation, but that's for another day. because I can argue we've had the greatest financial impact in our community, excluding nobody.
I mean, that respectfully.
Hello, for the record, we are exalting others today, but for the record,
Respectfully, super respectfully. But shout out to everybody that's carried that torch, man. There's been a lot of leaders and people that have fought for the betterment of society. Angela Davis, like she said, Angela Davis, one of our great voices that we've had. And then some people lead in different ways too, like, and once again, this might sound,
wake it
take it
up.
how you want, but somebody like Tupac, like to me, I feel like Tupac was a great
sure.
leader. And like, he never got a chance to fully mature. They're gonna say, well, he wasn't a civil rights leader, like he was with gang
He
members.
was for our era. He was.
Tupac Shakur, I feel like he was a powerful voice and influenced a lot of people, even to this day. Very influential person. Nipsey Hussle, very influential person, and influenced a lot of people, especially with the entrepreneurship and that business mind. That was influential for sure. So,
and even though he's going through trouble, and I'm a Tupac fan diehard, we can't leave Puff off that entrepreneurship do for self train. He was the first person I saw in the Forbes talking heavy business shit back then.
I mean, Puff is
you got to give him a lot of credit.
He's a major motivation. Like you can't erase
for
history.
A lot of people.
He's a major motivation for sure. It is what it is. Just a fact. Jay-Z.
Yep, for sure.
He's a motivational figure too. So.
Yep.
Okay. Put in chat though. Put in chat. What do you think? But my favorite black leader currently is Ibrahim Toure, Burkina Faso. That's my favorite. That's my favorite person right now. That guy's amazing. Hopefully they keep him safe out there, man.
For sure.
He's my favorite leader. He's not even my favorite black leader. He's my favorite leader.
Leader, period.
Troy
said W.E.B. Du Bois. Another.
For sure. W.E.B. Du Bois. Him and Frederick Douglass kind of had opposite ideals on the upward mobility for black people.
Yeah.
But Harriet Tubman.
For sure.
Harriet Tubman, man. She actually she literally freed hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
Yeah. Oh.
Booker T. Washington.
Booker T. Washington. Yeah.
Booker T. Washington. Yeah, Harriet Tubman might be one of the greatest leaders also.
For sure. Next week, we're going to get to that coon list.
That's a fact. Nat Turner. We can't forget Nat Turner.
No, we can't forget. Yeah. And the atrocity that was done to him after, man. That's why, like, a lot of times when people would think that, like, if a system benefits you, even if you're not directly racist, it does benefit you in terms of the derivatives that it will pay. I just wish our leadership would stop, and as you alluded to, stop having a everything is going to be okay approach and actually create a plan. The one thing that I do admire about his hubris in office, he came in 2 months and did things that other Democratic leadership were not doing 40 years.
And he don't care. Like Supreme Court on something, run the red light. He's running red lights. I don't care. I don't care what you tell me. He's not coming back to America. They said the Supreme Court said they have to facilitate this dude to come back to America. He said he's not coming back unless the president from El Salvador wants to come back.
That's crazy. And once again, I remember they gave Obama all that shit over a tan suit. If I was the Obama boy, Dapper Dan, Gucci, so I look like that preacher in Brooklyn. Yeah. What? They find the smallest things to criticize, but it is a good lesson in leadership to do what you want to do when you're in a position of power.
And the crazy thing is, like, that's why it's like, this erasing history thing is just really, dangerous, because it's like, you can't erase the facts that's actually happened. Somebody like Nat Turner led a slave revolt, and they chopped his body up. And then they kept pieces of his body as souvenirs.
Yeah, and put them on lampshades and all other kind of furniture and crazy shit. But if people aren't reading, or we're changing the curriculum, and then if I have AI to change things in real time, once again, wouldn't it behoove me to change? They changed world history in the last 30 or 40 years. There's facts that our kids don't know that we knew growing up. Even the majority of the South is not land that was owned by the United States of America. It was land that was pillaged, for sure. So, and the whole tribes have been taken out. Like, so what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, even what they've done to the native people, like as far as broken treaties left and right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yep. New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, Seminole tribe, Tulsa. Like, oh my God, like endless warfare. And for what?
And the crazy thing is the Oklahoma state constitution was a direct. So, okay. Oklahoma originally was a land that was the last land for native people, where they took everything else and they put like 13 tribes in Oklahoma, that area,
Yep.
which is Oklahoma now. And they said this is going to be native land. And then the settlers came and they just eventually took the land. And so then like the four strongest tribes got together, they banded together, they had a small corner in Oklahoma, and they went the legal route. They tried to go the legal route, and they put together a constitution to put forward to say that they wanted to be a state. They wasn't even trying to be independent. They just wanted to have a state in America where it was an Indian state, a native state. And they put together a constitution, and they said the constitution was so well written. Well, when they got the constitution, they just disregarded it altogether. But today's Oklahoma state's constitution is the exact replica of what the Indians put together. It was so well done that they was like, what's the point of rewriting it? We'll just take what they wrote already, and we'll just have this as our state constitution.
Wow. You're a true historian, you know.
You gotta know history. That's the dangerous part. If you erase history, then you can go for this dumb shit.
Oh, for sure.
You're gonna go for this dumb shit if you don't know anything. That's why they're trying so hard to erase the history.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Y'all put some fire in chat for Rashad. Dropping a fire factor today.
Oh man.
I know in the beginning y'all thought Blackout was just messy and gender war. Tricked you.
That's a
trick. Yeah, we all did all the dating stuff. Would you buy a gift on the first day? All okay. Now we're gonna get to the real world shit. Listen,
that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, well, let's talk about this public service announcement. Podcasters,
it's over with. All y'all who was lying to Trevor Rashad about y'all got an 8-figure podcasting deal and all that other bullshit. Finito. I know a lot of y'all going out of business, and I'm not talking about math because I rock with math and talked math yesterday. But it is a lot of y'all who came in after the wave was created in our community who tried to remix, and it's not going well. I remember when some of y'all would get on Trevor Rashad for telling them, yo, that low expenses thing is overrated. And the high expenses thing is what killed y'all. They not gonna say it and laugh, but I will. Har. I want y'all to start making original content and stop copying in any venue. And the crazy part, the biggest thing in podcasting still is true crime. I don't see any of us in it, with the exception of God Rest His Soul, Irv Gotti with the show he had on BET. So I want to give y'all a little warning as a person who has invested into a few podcast studios, so we can talk about if it was a good investment or not. But I'm gonna need y'all to quit copying, and this podcasting era as we know it is fucking dead.
So okay, well, let me ask you this, because I already know. Shout out to Dave Shans. I know he's gonna have.
I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, he's gonna have some commentary for this, because he's
Why?
still because he's taking the most aggressive stance of podcasting is the best thing ever, and everybody should have a podcast, and you can start your own podcast. That's this whole thing. So for Dave Shans, who's going to say, nope, absolutely not, it's just the beginning, it's the first inning in the ninth inning.
How is this the first inning? The most popular podcast was up in 2005. Rogan had a head full of fucking hair when them shits was going out. Alex Jones was 45 pounds lighter. He wasn't controlled by the Republicans. Like, it may be new for us, but I'm telling you, as a business person, it is too late. It's over with. Weezy made a post the other day, for the love of God. Y'all, please. Weezy tapped into a white bag. For the love of God, can y'all quit remaking the same shows? Nobody wants to hear you and your homeboys talk about gender war, $300 date, $500 date. Should you go? It's over with, bro.
That's over.
Sorry.
I mean, I agree
You're
with
going
you.
to need an actual skill set or niche approach to something to make. Even Bobby Altoff's shows fucking falling apart.
But the crazy thing is that it's like it's one of these things where you had to get in early. Sometimes in life it pays to get in early. You had to get in early, settle down, bunker, establish yourself as authority in the space, and hold that crown. Unless you're a celebrity, then there's always room for celebrity. So I say it. So for instance, there's when you think about music, hip hop. Let's talk about just black culture. When you think about music, right? When I think about music shows, I think of $1 Million Worth of Game because they're a music show. They interview rappers. I think of Drink Champs. Drink Champs has a unique perspective where they interview older rappers. They have a unique spin on it, right? But that to me are they're the two music shows that's stapled. That's if you're going on a press run for music, you got to go to $1 Million Worth of Game and you got to go to Drink Champs. Then you have the open opinion based show, which is Joe Budden. Joe Budden and Brilliant Idiots, let's say. Two different audiences, but those are both kind of like open opinion, not really guest based show, trending topics, talk about whatever you want to talk about. He's you can't take him off of that. Like that's him. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't take him off of that. Sports is interesting because there's been a few things that have been popped up in sports, but you got Cam and Mace for sure. Then you got Gilbert Arenas.
Yep.
What he's doing for sure.
Yeah, Club 520, Jeff Teague.
Okay. So the sports is a little bit more.
Yep.
Then you got like the Oprah of the moment, which is Shannon Sharp, who encompasses his whole thing as far as like, you know, he's at the highest level as far as his celebrity.
But he earned it over 15 years to get the
And then you have other things like you have business.
Shit that matters.
And then, you know, it's a pretty much stranglehold on that situation.
And then the streamers wiping y'all down to use the YN language.
That's a fact.
Y'all need to get a more elaborate set. Kai's set look like something in Alpharetta.
That's a fact. It's
really hard to be profitable paying $59,000 a month for rental space and equipment and editors. And Morgan just told y'all the other day, the editing part done, streamlined. But how many takes do we need on if Drake was going to come back from Kenya? It don't matter. There's real shit going on in the world. So, shout out to Dave Shands. I love you dearly. I appreciate you.
Salute to Dave Shands.
John told you, even that conference should be podcasting and streaming.
That's a fact. He all things. You can't limit yourself for sure.
Yep. Even I did it. I'm a futures trader. I came in with a broader scope of investing. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. That was for a reason. Yep. So, but what do we know? But a lot of y'all was popping a lot of shit. Don't nobody want to hear that business stuff. Okay. Y'all wrapping up shop. Adam, if you need a bridge loan, I got you.
One of the few ships that's still afloat.
For sure. Sure.
Almost a decade.
Ooh, I saw the Oculus yacht in Bahamas. Ooh. I ain't never won a boat to then. I said, damn, this is amazing. One of the few afloat. Who's the next podcast to die? Who knows? I was telling y'all 2 years ago trying to help. It's over with. I'm gonna just let y'all go to the bottom of the Atlantis. Sorry.
And a lot of people had moments with internal problems.
That's another. You have to learn how to work out your grievances in peace. All y'all think y'all eat money bags. You're not. You're not. Yo, all that tough, I could do it on my own. Da da da. No. Sometimes it's easier to keep the unit together. Krauss learned this the hard way in Chicago. Being egotistical. Never recreated it. Pete Myers was good in college, dude. He wasn't Mike. Shot Pete Myers. I want no smoke. So
let's play this clip from Kev on stage talking about $1,200, $2,500, $5,000. Let's play this.
I saw this on the internet. It said you're not grown till you realize that $12,000, $25,000, or even $5,000 is not no real money. And I don't know what this person means by real money, but I'm 41 years old, fully grown, and I can tell you that that's real money. What is real money? What even is real money? Everything's real money. A penny's technically real money, but I assume they mean you really can't do nothing with that. But let me tell you what. I want us to be honest with ourselves, okay? If you gave the average American, not even almost anybody in the world, $12,000, $25,000, or $5,000, I'm sure they could do something with it. And that's what I consider real money. I do okay in life. God has blessed. If I find $1,200 on the ground, I'm like, oh, snap. I can still pay bills. Any amount of money that you can find and the first thing you think about is paying bills, that's real money. Okay, now maybe you're the 1%, you're Jeff Bezos, okay. You got hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe that's not real money, but most of us ain't him, okay? I still got student loans. I still got kids. $5,000, that's not real. 5,000 US dollars is not real money. What does that have to do with grown? Grown folks got to pay their bills. That's bill money. If the first thing you think of is bills and not wasting it, it's for sure real money. If you still got student loans, it's real money. That's just, what do you mean by that? I think on social media we be saying stuff, but we don't be saying stuff. And that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be for real. I remember when the pandemic happened and them stimmies went out, it was real money to a lot of people. It was around $1,200. It was real money to a lot of people, okay? I remember, and I used my stimmy. I said, well, if y'all gonna give it to me, I got a place for it to go. All right, I might buy a plane ticket. I might put something on my son's tuition, but I got a reason for that money to do something that's real.
Salute Kev on stage, man. He's actually a good dude.
He's a good dude, yo. I like him.
He's a good dude, man. Just good energy, you know, funny as hell. Shout out to Kev on stage. Yeah. Salute.
Graceful. He just started when we saw him at the award show. I'm like, damn, you lit. Like, wow.
Nah, salute to Kev, man.
Lit. Clean sweep that award show.
I can see both sides of this. Because I understand what he's saying as far as like, if I could pay a bill, that was a good thing that he said. If I could pay a bill, that's real money. Like, if I could pay a bill with $1,200 or definitely $5,000, $2,500, I could pay
$5,000. Put a little smile on your face.
I could pay a bill with it, but I also understand from the standpoint of growing up. Like as a kid, I remember thinking $1,000 was a lot of money.
A lot of money. $5,000 when we were kids. What?
5,000 was just like
you was rich. What?
Yeah, exactly. So I remember that thought process in my mind where 5,000 was everything, and then you realize that it's really not. Yeah. So she's not wrong in what she's saying. That it's not real money because it's not. Mm-mm. That's not this. I'm not being disrespectful to like because, like I said, at one point in time, 5,000 was everything to me. Like
for real.
But the perspective starts to change when you look at things a little differently. Where it's like, I look at real money as something that could potentially change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it is important to have honest conversations and keep things in perspective because we can't always just play small ball
or flat out lie. So I got into trouble when I made this comment too a couple years ago that like $100,000 is no real money. Given that we're talking to an entrepreneur audience, I wasn't trying to be insensitive, but I get it. But let's go to the facts. The dollar has lost 38% of its purchasing power in the last 20 years. So if the US dollar has went down 20%, and gold has went up probably 700%. Part of the realization of being an adult, I even remember in 2007, 2008, some of the homes that were going in Gwinnett County, Alpharetta, Midtown, and Atlanta, 400 grand got you an amazing home. You try and get a $400,000 house in Atlanta now, you're not going to be that impressed. So if the country is falling apart, we printed more money than ever because of COVID, mismanagement of leadership there. We have to be real. Like if you're an adult with kids, especially if you live in a major city, $1,000 is not what it used to be. Can you pay a bill with it? Yeah, but man, it feels like as soon as you pay a bill, then 11 days later you get an email or get something in your mailbox to pay for the next month. So it's not enough to give you enough cushion. When we were in college, 02, 03, $5 grand. Oh my God, what? You sent your parents $5 grand in college? It was some cushion there. It's not that now. I've never seen rent be this high for 9 major metro cities in my life. There's no 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, or 2-bathroom, $1,300 rent in small cities anymore. Let alone major cities. So, who's right? I don't know. You guys tell me. But I like Kev. So when it's get clipped up, I don't want y'all to think that Kev is amazing. I get it, but she's right. That's not what it used to be. And to be real, $1 million not what it used to be. When I was watching Home Alone 2, $1 million, boy, you would have been good. What? 15 years, 20 years, no work, nothing, just chilling. $1 million now? Tough.
That's a fact.
Speaking of Ford, that Ford Everest, you seen it? They must have heard your comments. They got in ChatGPT and
tough.
remix some Lorraine. It ain't bad for a Ford. I'm not even gonna hold you. Look like a
4-door?
Yeah, a little 4-door. I said, little hunter green, candy paint job on it, taken from the culture. I see you.
All that comes from culture, man. All that comes from car culture, from black people and Mexican lowriders and all that. That's car culture. Like when they start, remember we start putting rims. Now you see in standard rims 20 inches on
for sure.
Now, like that was never a thing. They put hydraulics on a Maybach,
which is insane, and the headrest and all that.
Like, the two-tone colors.
Yeah.
TVs in the headrest. All of that come from culture. Mm-hmm. All of that is black, and I gotta give the Latinos credit because they do the cars too. That's black and Latino culture, 1,000%, and that's a perfect example how they just remix it. Like what used to be seen as ratchet. Like then I remember my cousin Hustler. Only person that had TVs in their car was a Hustler.
Was Dope Boys for sure.
Like you had a PlayStation TV in your car. Now those are standard in SUVs. Those are standard.
Yes, you got the main console, the ones in the seat, the one in the front of the Tesla and the Mercedes. It's like, bro,
they used to be tricked out. You used to have to go to the dude to get it tricked out. Pimp My Ride. Remember the Pimp My Ride?
That's even on the Maybach. So some of the rims, they look like the old Three Fingers. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Crazy.
100 spokes, like it got the spokes on it. Like it's crazy. It's
big
crazy.
Facts.
It's crazy how car culture has just adopted that. It's like the Dapper Dan. It's like the Dapper Dan thing. Like with Gucci, like they see what's going on, what's hot in culture, and they just take that shit and just
take that shit. Yeah, and sue the shit out you for doing it.
That's a fact.
Well, what's the most overrated luxury car brand? You don't got to down this hill. I just want to throw it out there.
The most overrated luxury car brand?
Mm-hmm. Troy, you can chime in.
BMW ain't really putting no heat on in a minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. Salute to BMW, but they kind of they ain't really hit the streets hard. Like when that 7 Series, the first
two, baby.
Heavy in the streets like the 7 Series Beamer. Like that was
when that first drop.
That first 7. Oh man, that was the dream. That was a dream, man. The BMW. Even the like
the big body grill, not bad though. I like it.
No, it's a good car. It's nice, but they lost their motion. They
For
lost
sure.
their most. You don't hear nobody
Troy
talk
got
about
to go in.
X5
Troy.
Jaguars.
Jaguar.
That SK8 is a legendary. That James Bond. The Jaguar
sure,
can never be
yeah.
overrated because James Bond. That's
Who
like
owns them? Land Rover?
Land Rover. Yeah.
Whenever they made that switch, my dad had a Jag back in the day. Ooh, that motherfucker.
It hasn't been the
tough,
same
boy.
since. Yeah, the Jaguar
Has
hasn't been
not
the
been
same
the
since.
same.
It hasn't been the same since. It
Yeah,
hasn't.
I remember when Jag was a luxury car, yo.
The Jag. That's old school. That's some old school shit. Like you don't see Jaguars too much anymore.
And fuck the brand up.
That's a fact. You can't
Fuck
go
the
down.
brand
You
up.
can't merge with somebody that's underneath.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. But BMW, get it together, man.
Bavarian Motorworks. Funded by whom? Hey, and I had told y'all on Blackout. Well, I got my year wrong. I said he died in 1982. But when they transported him in the same little cargo ship that Rashad gonna get his cabinets in, I told you that they put him in Chile or somewhere, and then they finally released it. That he didn't die in that fire like they said he did.
That's a fact. Next week, we're going to talk about this alien thing because I got to do some more research on this.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about this. You heard about that?
What happened?
They declassified, the CIA declassified files that have recording battles against aliens on Earth.
They put the video out.
I'm telling you. Like I said, I need a week to actually fully parse in this situation. But I looked it up. No, it's like not like 100 people, but it's like in Chile, like a farmer had a shootout with a UFO. Like four small beings came out of a UFO and they had a shootout. Like it's pretty detailed that these people.
You know how messed up the economy got to be for them to release the files on JFK, Hitler, and aliens being real. I saw one like somebody put out their hand and turned some people into stone in Paraguay or somewhere. I'm like, economy's in shambles. Ooh, things fuck. Oh yeah, the Soviets turned them into stone like X-Men. I said, oh, that M2 money supply drying up. Say what you want to. Oh
That's
no.
Before
Will Smith, where you at? Men in Black 9.
Please, we need a stimmy. Let's play this David Robinson clip, can we? So you know the Admiral is legendary. What's as legendary is his sneakers, right? Like I remember when Nas said, "Guess David Robinson's Wally moccasins." The David Robinson sneakers, legendary. And of course, his legacy kind of got a little forgotten because of Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
But
them two together, that first finals,
Twin Towers. But this highlights something, and it's triggering to me because. I'll never forget Hubert Davis. So when we actually this is where me and Troy met on the set of a movie, Eddie. We filmed a movie, Eddie, when we was kids.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of kids. Well, we never was, and we was like extras. I don't think our scene ever made it, but a bunch of kids from our neighborhood was extras in the movie called Eddie, which was Whoopi
Goldberg, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Lopez. So we went to Madison Square Garden. And it was a bunch. I was like, we probably like 10, 12 years old, stuff like that. So, we did the whole thing. We was there all day. And then at the end of it, when we was leaving, they had a game that day. So the players was coming in. So at the time, Hubert Davis played for the Knicks. Hubert Davis is the coach of North Carolina right now. He played for the Knicks. And I'll never forget. And Hubert Davis was never a star player. Let's just put it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
He was never like a all-star player. He was never like a. But you just happy just to see a player. If you're 12 years old, 10 years old, like you're just happy just to see somebody. So back then it was no pictures. Back then it was a thing called the autograph.
Yep.
Kids don't even know about that no more. Back then it was a thing called the autograph. You see a celebrity, it's like after your autograph. So it was me. I never forget. It was like it wasn't all of us. It was like me and probably like three of my friends, and we was obviously little kids, like 10 years old. So we were like, "Yo, Hubert, man, what's up, man? Can we get your autograph?" And I'll never forget. He didn't even he just looked at us. He looked at us and just kept walking. And
What?
POS. And I'll never forget. And to this day, like that's why you never forget how people make you feel. That was
That's a great point.
That was
Yep.
over 30 years ago, and I still remember that, right? And
Yeah.
to this day, if I ever see Hubert Davis, I'm gonna tell him like, "Yo, you dead wrong for that, bro.
Shit, yo.
You're actually a piece of shit." And if I had a kid, I would never send him to North Carolina because of that. And
That's crazy.
And I'm sure that he might have had a bad day or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like you see a kid, these are the people that put you in position, right? Like
Yeah.
there's certain things, there's certain obligations that come with some level of celebrity, right? Now you're not obligated to do a million, but if you see something that's like this David Robinson thing, that wasn't going out your way, bro. This is one person.
That's a 3 second
who has a jersey. He supported you. Bro, nobody's thinking about David Robinson. Let's be honest, right? So this is somebody that's had this jersey for years, probably, right? Like
25 years. Yeah.
I don't know one person that has David Robinson at the top of their head. So for you to act like you can't sign at one jersey, bro, you can't make the time to take 10 seconds out of your day to sign a jersey. Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, it's also the reason too. Like, I know every time we have a show, I got to get drug off the stage. But considering like people went and got babysitters and flew there and got a hotel, the least I can do is stay there and talk. Now I know security hated, my team hated. I actually have to drag me off stage, but people will never forget those moments. How you made them feel, for sure. And it's interesting. Going back to your point, it's rarely the star players that do that. Very rare. Like
some of us star players.
Well, more
some of the
MJ allegedly. Allegedly. MJ don't give a damn. And Hubert Davis, man, that little bum ass call that they gave Pippen. Pippen was supposed to be in the finals, yo. That game pissed me off so bad.
And you was a corny dude. Hubert Davis been a corny dude his whole life.
For sure.
Like he was never like. You were never the cool guy. Like, and it wasn't like you was like a cool guy, like, oh, I'm lit. You've been corny your whole life. You should be happy that somebody even took the time to acknowledge you. But those dudes in the 90s are suckers, though. That 90s bred a lot of suckers. What? No, the 90s era of athletes, all those dudes
getting robbed, yo.
Yeah, they were. But they
were
all
getting
suckers,
robbed.
Though. They all follow that train of like, yo, I gotta just give all my money to this accountant, and whatever a white person tells me to do, I gotta make sure I do it. And like, they all they super. You see Isaiah Thomas talking about LeBron James should be ashamed of himself for having a no shirt on. Like, on that Uncle Tom route. I'm telling you, them 90s dudes is on that Uncle Tom route, bro. They all on that. They on that.
Brian did look like he had on the prison sweats, but given how hard Brian worked,
he's LeBron James. He saved He saved the NBA.
Yeah,
LeBron James has saved the NBA for 15 years.
For sure.
Like, he's the stimulus package for the whole entire league.
And for all of Talk Sports Media.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And shout out to Zeke, man. But a lot of them dudes be on that Uncle Tom route. I've noticed, I've seen it firsthand. You see these dudes at the golf tournaments, and you could just see, like, nah, he not. Yeah. Like the Kendrick, they're not like us. Like this generation.
It's a lot of them.
This generation, like some people take it too far. Yeah. Shout out to Ja, but some people take it too far. But this generation is just more so.
Hey, keep doing that grenade. Ooh, cheat code, emote.
The grenade legendary. But I'm telling you, bro, a lot of these athletes from the 90s, these dudes is OJ'd out. Like they OJ'd out, bro. OJ wasn't the only one.
No. He was just popular.
There was like 30 years of the OJ era until the 90s came, until like the late 90s came with Iverson, and like that's like the 2000s.
Hated him, yeah,
because he broke. But when I seen Isaiah Thomas, damn near, you're snitching because nobody's even thinking about it. That's the third thing about it. Like you're actually snitching. Nobody's even thinking about LeBron's warming up without his shirt on. You're calling for the NBA to punish one of the
great. He said that?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I didn't see him
Yeah,
actually.
he did the whole thing. He was like, "Yo, if Adam Silver really wants to crack down on something, you should look at LeBron James warming up with no shirt on. It's disrespectful to the game, disrespectful to the league. Have some cool." I'm like, Zeke.
Hey, Isaiah, being from Chicago, my boy. Given that your brother threatened to shoot Bobby Knight when he came to your house, this ain't the time, my boy.
Please, man. Out of all the things that's going on in the world right now, out of all the things that's going on in the world right now, LeBron.
Why the ratings are down, bruh. Speaking of, I owe an apology and a kudos. Apology to our white brethren, JJ Redick. I criticized the shit out of you at the beginning of the season. You have done an amazing job.
Number three seed. Look, number 3
50
seed
wins. Hey, JJ, I'm sorry.
Very good shot at going to the final. If they go to the finals, they got a shot. They got a shot. I don't want to jinx it too early.
If some things go in their favor and break, yep. And Mike Malone, what is Denver doing? I don't know. Like, okay, but Houston, Ime Udoka, we got to talk about it. Coach of the year.
He's a hell of a coach.
Coach of the year. Off the court, player of the year. Boy, we got table 4, boy. Damn.
The first coach of the year and player of the year at the same
player
time.
Of the year for sure. He got Houston rocking. I'm not, no pun intended. Shout out to the guys that it's gonna be an interesting little playoff season. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, if LA gets to the finals or Western Conference Finals. Gotta give him credit. I see Steve Nash doing his audition with LeBron.
So if the Lakers win the championship, is the debate over? Can we just lay this to rest?
Who would they be going against in the East?
He got to get a statue. If he wins 2 championships in LA,
he needs one now. Yeah,
I don't want to hear that COVID wasn't no because they played the game.
What is that from? That counts.
Yeah, that's as dumb as
it was like an AAU environment. So y'all was still flying in.
Exactly, they played.
And running across the street.
Everybody played. They played.
Facts.
You don't take away
I feel like the ball was competitive too.
You don't take away San Antonio's ring when they had a shortened season because of the strike.
That's a fact.
What are we talking about?
It's just because LeBron did it.
If Bron gets 2 in LA, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean he'd be like neck and neck pause with. Yeah, but I want us to stop even having that debate too, because it's like for all these accomplished, if you've ever played organized basketball, I told somebody this yesterday. Like, you played in college, how can you critique what he's doing? You can't stat pat for that long, knowing he was that good. And dude was from the Midwest. I'm like, he played in Chicago. You know how tough Brian was.
That's a fact. He's done things.
These stories in 8th grade about how great he was.
We've never seen. He's done at the highest level possible that we've never seen before.
Yeah. Yep. Kanye, I don't know what your obsession is with Taylor Swift, my boy, but you better stop. You think Kelsey beat up Kanye? If Kelsey beat up Kanye on Black History Month, that'd be funny. I don't want to see it, but
easy.
You're going too far.
Easy,
going too far, my boy. Oh man.
All right. Anything else we got to cover?
No, I didn't know you had Smokey Hubert Davis for life. That's your lifetime op. Damn.
Well, once a sucker, always a sucker.
That's true.
And yeah. Remember he had that weird press conference. He's like, I'm proud of my white wife. Like, I'm proud to have a white wife. Like, if you have a white wife, that's fine. But why are you?
When he said this?
When he first got the job, he's like, I'm proud to be who I am. I'm proud that I have a white wife. Like we have a biracial family. I'm like, you don't have to make a public service announcement that you have a biracial family. Like, okay, you have a biracial family. Okay, kudos to you. Congratulations. But allegedly.
That's crazy, yo.
Allegedly. But yeah, Hubert, never forget.
He definitely a red pillar with no power.
Yeah. And North Carolina has been terrible ever since.
For sure. Yeah,
They need
I
to
don't
shake
know what
things
happened.
up. Shout out to RJ Davis, but man, you talking about a
Yeah,
program
he
that's
changed
has
for real.
fallen off.
Yeah, bring Rashad McCants back. Shout out to my guy.
You know what I'm
Shit,
saying?
they say UNC we was growing up was what? Them and
UNC
Duke.
UNC supposed to be legendary every year. UNC supposed to be
Yeah,
legendary.
yeah.
Now
UNC
they didn't even really deserve to be in a tournament this year.
First said they went to the chip 2 years ago. They win.
What it what it does. 2018 was 5 years ago. No, that was
Oh,
7 years ago. 7 years ago. It was 7 years ago.
okay. Yeah.
It was 7 years ago. They didn't even deserve to be in the tournament this year. They lost in the first round.
Damn. That's
Or maybe
tough.
they're rebuilding NIL. Who knows?
Like,
Before we leave, Shedeur Sanders. I've never seen a player. I've never seen this happen before. So he was projected to be the number 1 draft pick, right? Number 1, number 3, around the top 3 pretty much for the last 10 weeks of the season. And now some have him even out of the top 10. But every day, the criticism that he's faced, and he's done like 2 workouts. He hasn't done anything more. Like, it's not like he's done something that's like, okay, he hasn't done anything to my knowledge at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's a asserted effort to diminish his character and diminish his draft stock. I don't know if this is to kind of put a precedent that Dion is not going to have his way in this. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I think so.
To me, this feels like collusion to lower his draft stock for no reason, by the way.
A draft process that's based off of a racial draft, is this surprising? And we got to remember, some of the people that may be drafting him may have played with his dad, and they may want to get revenge. Even last year when everyone was like, he's going to go number 1, I'm like, I don't know if the powers that be want that at this time. Now, should he go? I think so. I've even heard little rumblings. Travis draft stock is changing. But it goes back to the thing of you have to be so good that they can't deny you, regardless of where he falls. Like, as long as he gets to play, that'll work itself out.
I mean, it might even work out better for him because he'll be at a better team as opposed to just the worst team in the league. Travis, I think they got him at number 2. Most people have Travis at number 2 right now, going to the Cleveland Browns. Who the hell wants to go to the Cleveland Browns?
I'm like, please go 4th.
No disrespect.
You don't want to go to Cleveland. Yeah.
Do you think that Travis is going to be a wide receiver in the league or a cornerback?
I think wide.
I think that he will be a defensive back that runs special routes.
Okay, I can see that.
I think they're gonna put him in packages, like, you know what I'm saying. Like, I think he'll have special routes and packages that he'll run as a wide receiver, and I think that his primary position will be a defensive back. But it'll be interesting. He's still not listed. He's still not listed as a cornerback or wide receiver. They haven't listed as an athlete, meaning like he's right. So he's still. I'm really interested to see what he does. But do you think that he can play 2 ways, pause, in the league?
And Cleveland, shit, you may have to. What else you got to lose? And you don't have anybody to really draw tickets. They just need a whole they need to ship that team to Hawaii or Guam or something and then start over. I don't know what curse Cleveland got, but man, that little ownership consortium, they are not playing about Cleveland. So he may have to. But I know he's done a great job of staying out of the press and keeping that girl out the press. I don't know what talk Dion had with him, but that shit worked, yo. My boy been locked in ever since.
Nah, shout out to Travis, man. I'm looking forward to see what he's able to do. He said he'll quit football if he can't play both ways. Both. I don't think that. I think that's just him just saying that so he can kind of get his
the passion, but that he has for the game. I like that.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna quit.
Yeah.
Too much money on the line. All right. Another glorious episode of Blackout. Make sure 12 hours left now. before
Yes.
the class tomorrow, options class, 50% off. EY University, 12 hours left. Enter code Market Mondays upon checkout. You get access to the option class, past classes, real estate blueprint, monthly financial
Yep.
planning calls, the groups, all kinds of that stuff, man. Like if you're really serious about taking your education to the next level, especially trading and investing, you need to be there. So Market Mondays is the code upon checkout. And yeah, that's the deal.
If you don't want to get your account destroyed on the option side, you probably should tap in, because if you down 38,000 when Trump have another tariff announcement, I'm not replying. Well, I'm gonna just leave you on red.
Trump and tariffs. The Trump tariff plan.
My God.
Legendary.
Get your other passport, so in case you get shipped to El Salvador. It's a joke, but all jokes aside, it's crazy you even have to think that way.
It's a joke.
And if I was on this hit list, my God.
It's a joke until it's not.
Yep.
Until they snatch you off the street and got you.
Zuckerberg bought a house in DC and still got to go to court. What?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Insane.
All right, guys. Stay safe out there.
Y'all have a good one. Hubert Davis, you better call and apologize.
Please.
That boy started a whole campaign in North Carolina and get you fired. You bet.
30
hey,
years.
weaponize the platform. You be out of there.
That's a fact.
Get Carter on the way. Hey,
Fact.
be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Be mindful. You never know.
Is there an equivalent to AAU system academically in the United States of America? Or do you think we have more athletes in the AAU and NIL portal than we do the academic portal? Like, we have no farm system for we can wrap it up. It's all right.
Next week on Blackout.
Next week. Meanwhile, China. That little idea I had about investing in the citizens. I'm like, damn, they've been doing this 15 years.
Learn Mandarin. Learn Spanish or Mandarin. Teach your kids. If it's too late for you to learn it, make sure your children are either learning Spanish or Mandarin. All those other languages is a waste of time. French, Italy, French, Italian. That's the waste of time. Complete waste of time. Spanish, Mandarin.
Yep.
All right, guys. It's been real. Love.
Peace.